hi there on this very wet and blustery Sunday morning, although surprisingly mild. It's 15 degrees today, and welcome to my office. Now on this video today I want to specifically talk about PCP finance on bikes, but cars are the same principle, versus saving for that. Now I got convinced about PCPs back in 2012, where the salesman said it to me: if your house depreciated by 50% every 3 years, would you rent it or would you buy it? Now I hope all of you would say, well, I would rent it, obviously. Why would I want to own an asset that's losing that much of its value? But when it comes to vehicles, there seems to be a level of pride, I think misplaced pride, on owning your vehicle outright. Now, I think technology has changed motorbikes and technology has changed cars. They're so advanced now that I wouldn't want any of these vehicles out of warranty. Years ago, where you could fix it, let's say, bit different story, but now with the amount of electronics and the LCD screen, etc., repairs on these can rack up real quick. So only having a vehicle under warranty, I think, for me, is definitely the route I want to go. And it was the route I would advise my son to go, as I did. Now, specifically on his deal, that was a 0% finance deal. Now, I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to use someone else's money for free versus their own to buy that vehicle. I also think in any other deal, if there's interest involved, if the interest was actually called a convenience tax and you're going, well, this is the price for the convenience of having a new bike, maybe that would change people's mentality a bit. But specifically, I have kept my vehicles, generally speaking, up until the point where the vehicle owes me more than I owe it, which is about the 3-year mark. So once they sort of break even, I get rid. But when I will buy a PCP, I'll put the minimum amount of deposit down as humanly possible, because I want my money to stay with me. Now, the convenience tax of that is there's interest to be paid on the total borrowings. But what I think people misunderstand about PCPs is the total liability is more or less irrelevant. It's the cost to service that liability and the guaranteed future value. Now, you could have a cheap vehicle, like a cheaper vehicle, let's say, versus a more expensive vehicle, on the same interest rates over the same period of time, yet the cheap vehicle, there's a good chance the payments will be higher because of the guaranteed future value. Now, people, I think, gets unstuck with PCPs because they'll do a great PCP deal on a cheaper vehicle and then they'll lose out because of the guaranteed future value. Or they'll pick a very ridiculous low mileage as per the advert going, well, you can have this for £150 a month on 4,000 miles, knowing full well they'll do more than 4,000 miles. And I know this because I've done that once on my 1250 GS, my second one, where I did 17,500 miles in a year and a half and lost 5.5 grand. But that 5.5 grand is an important number. Not itself, but the principle. When I make a financial decision, I'm making that financial decision on not what is the cost of doing the thing, it's the cost of undoing the thing. And that's the only bit I care about, that if I want to get out of this product or terminate this contract, what's it going to cost me to terminate it? Now, you can terminate a PCP from any time from day one until day end. What you're going to do is get your ass handed to you because of the depreciation on the bike. But you're still going to get your ass handed to you if you own the bike outright. If you went to a dealership today and spent cash on the bike and walked out, if you lost your VAT, so you've lost that money already. And then if you've done a boatload of miles like I did on that 1250, you're going to get your ass handed to you. And the convenience tax of that interest rate is the bit that I'm willing to pay to have the convenience of not giving someone a shit ton of money. So, using my son's bike as an example, I did some maths. And I did this maths on saying, how much or how long would it take to save £11,000 on various salaries in £5,000 increments, and assuming for the period it would take to save that, you save 5% of your net income and you got a 3% pay rise each year. How much would you have earned over the period it took you to save? Let's have a look at that. Right, as you can see here, I've asked ChatGPT a very simple question. Taking into consideration the average salary in the UK and the average outgoings in the UK, create a table that shows the salary in £5,000 increments. If you were to save 5% of your net income, how many months would it take to save £11,000, assuming the current tax legislation, the average outgoings, and what is an unreasonable amount of spare income? So you can see it's populated all the criteria. It's taken the basic assumptions. And here we have our table. So gross salary from 12,000 up to 70,000. Now, if you had, let's say, a reasonable income of £40,000 a year, it would take you 84.6 months to save £11,000. Or in this instance, as my son, or you can buy it interest-free. Now, higher salary. It's still taking you 53 months to save 5% of your salary to the point of £11,000. Now that might seem reasonable to you or not. But what about this? What if you were to show a 3% pay rise every year for the amount of months it would take you to save that money? How much would you have earned over that total period to save £11,000? Let's pick middle of the road, 40,000. For 40,000 over the 84 months, assuming a 3% pay rise each year, you will have earned £355,000 to save 11 grand on 5% of your income. It's a lot of money to save £11,000. Almost doesn't seem like it's worth it, does it? Or you could use a PCP. Pick realistic mileage. Make sure it's affordable to service that liability. Put the least amount of deposit down. Keep your money in the bank. Still keep saving if you can, and invest it. And the minute the bike owes you more than you owe it, get rid of it while it's still in warranty. Well, for me, that's what I'm doing. And I would seriously recommend everybody consider a PCP if you play the game by the appropriate rules of being realistic with your mileage and picking a bike that has a good guaranteed future value. Hope that was interesting. If you could hit subscribe, that'd be awesome. Cheers.